Alright guys, we are going to watch a Montoya video. Now, we haven't watched Montoya in a very long time. At the Eradicators channel, we appreciate Montoya. I wish he could do a little bit more original videos, but he's the leader of the biggest Star Citizen org. He's a family man like me, so I totally understand also that he doesn't have much time, and these reaction videos pretty much all he can do, and that's totally okay. And it's great to listen to other people's opinion. I like his opinion. Usually I quite agree with him on most of what he says. So, well, let's check it out here. Let's see what Montoya has to say about Star Citizen cargo mech sales hitting $1.5 million, guys. This is the ARGO ATLS. Is $1.5 million a lot? When you think of it, right? I don't think so. We're talking about, you know... We're talking about lots of money now that Star Citizen makes a year. $100 million a year now that Star Citizen is making in terms of revenue. So 1.5, not so much actually. But let's listen to Montoya.
I wanted to circle back to the whole mech drum from Star Citizen. They introduced this mech suit you're seeing right here, which is used to lift the heavy cargo boxes and was sold for $40. Now the drama is basically it's overpriced, it's too expensive, and also they created a problem where you can no longer lift these heavy boxes and you need this specific piece of machinery to do it, which is a great reason to buy it, but at what price?
And we've tried the ARGO ATLS on multiple occasions on the channel. It sucks. It's terrible. It cannot do the job. Like... You have those boxes that end up in front of you. You have zero visibility. You have to do that in third-person mode. And even when you're doing so, it's so hard to properly put the boxes where you want it to be. The only good use I found of the ARGO ATLS is actually to not even unload the ship because you're damaging the ship, so your ship may even blow up, is to just put your boxes from the floor of your hangar to the freight elevator. And then maybe from the freight elevator to in front of your ship. And then you are going to manually load your ships, right? That's the only use I've found of the ARGO ATLS. I'm not sure if Montoya has tried the ARGO ATLS himself, and we'll talk about it, but it's not even a good vehicle.
Now, the reason I wanted to wait a couple of days is twofold. One, I wanted to see what the sales of this would be like exactly. And so we have them now. I think this is a good way to kind of gauge the interest that the community had. And as we can see, it's about, let's call it 600,000 plus 700,000 plus another 300,000 over there. It came out to roughly 1.5 million in sales, which is not bad. In fact,
I disagree, Montoya. Remember, Star Citizen now, on the course of on multiple years now, not just 1 year. It happened for over the past 2 years. Star Citizen makes, in terms of revenue, in terms of player donations, $100 million. That's a lot. So I don't think so. I don't think it's that much.
in fact, it's pretty good. So the people complaining that it's too expensive,
Yes,
maybe. But look, people still bought it. I want to point out something here. And
they did. They did buy it. But I'm pretty sure that people would have bought more of those if it was $20, which would have been a more reasonable price for an it's not even a mech, it's an exoskeleton that's not working so well. That doesn't have much uses, in fact. It's useless at landing zones. At outposts. It's useless for loading and unloading your ship. It's just for the freight elevator. And that's it. So I got one, only one. I'm not going to buy any more. I wanted to give... When this was being tested and we didn't know the price, I thought, oh, that's going to be a great multi-giveaway. I was hoping I would give away multiple of these to the people on the channel. I'm not even going to be doing that because I don't want to be supporting a price like that. That's that ridiculous. So, no. And I think that a lot of people are like me. Maybe they just got one or decided to pass. In the end, if the price had been just $20... Sure, the revenue per vehicle would have been less, but because they would have sold so much more, people would have been much more excited. Then I think that the sales would have been much higher than what they currently are. If they had sold 20 at 20, I would have bought 10 of them, and I would have given away 5 of them. Now, what I would have done with the other 5s, I would have put each left at one of the various landing zones so that I wouldn't need to carry them around. I wouldn't need to bring them from one place to another. I wouldn't need to claim it. They're there. They would have stayed there, and that would have been it. No, instead I just keep the same one and I transport it into my transport vehicles, and that's a bit annoying, right? But if you have several ones that you keep at several locations, it's even more practical. But no, not even doing that. Sorry.
I also want to take a look at a post on Reddit, and I think a small man over here on Reddit posted a pretty good
That's the name of the guy, a small man.
Situation. And his criticism is basically he's going to give us a timeline of why he believes this is a cash grab. And yes, technically everything is a cash grab in Star Citizen. Now, some of this criticism is 100% correct, all right? They dropped the ATLS and they didn't post about the tractor beam rebalance officially, meaning they made some changes with the way the game mechanics work with moving the heavy boxes. I agree 100% that
wow, Montoya criticizing CIG. I'm just sometimes he does. I'm being a dick here. I'm sorry, Montoya. If you're watching this, I know that sometimes you do criticize CIG. You're not always full white knight, right? I know. But that's worth nothing, right? It's right. When you get Montoya criticizing CIG like this, that means that something must have been wrong there, and that's true. And that's what infuriates me. That's I'm really pissed about this, right? And not just that, but they had some people from CIG had the guts to tell us on Spectrum that, oh no, this is really not a cash grab, right, guys? Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's like there are going to be other alternatives. No, yeah, but no. They've nerfed the multi-tool so much that when I carried over 2,000 SCU of cargo, and I did it myself with my little mouse wheel, transporting before the Atlas was out, with my little mouse wheel from my ships to the front elevator. I had a freaking pain in the hand, in the wrist for over a week. I could barely use a computer for a week because of that. So this is like the way they nerf the multi-tool actually gives you pain. That's how bad it is. And so they're giving us this tool here, which is a huge relief, when you have those containers on the floor of the hangar, just point and click, put them in the front. Oh yeah, that is a relief. Sure, I still have to use the mouse wheel to remove the containers off the ships or put it on the ship, but still, it's just half of what it used to be, right? So it's still quite a very good help or aid compared to what we've had after they did that nerf.
That they should have said, we plan on making this change, but we're also introducing this mech to help facilitate the movement of cargo. If they had just told us that first, I think there would have been a lot less heat. So definitely Star Citizen is not, CIG is not a perfect company. They will make mistakes, and they do. And they mess up sometimes. And
yeah, quite a few times. Several times a year. Every year. I mean, I'm an original backer. I've been there since October 2012. I don't think there has been a single year without this kind of drama, right? Either we call, roadmap watchers, or it's all fault. There's like, oh, now this, right? There's always drama every year.
I think we can pretty comfortably say this was one of the times they messed up, because if they were going to make these changes to the way cargo is moved, and they're going to introduce the tool that can fix the situation, then tell us ahead of time. Don't leave it for the Q&A in the Atlas itself. 100% agree. But on the second part of the criticism, which a lot of people are complaining about, which is the price, saying, hang on a second, for the price of $40, all you're getting is basically a glorified tractor beam, where you can buy a starter pack for $45, or you can buy the Pisces, which is an amazing, cool starter ship for $60, or even cooler, the Cutter, for $60.
I prefer the Pisces.
How can you price that at $40? But you cannot argue with the fact that $1.5 million was sold.
But I'm sorry, Montoya, it's not that much. It's $1.5 million, but at the scale of Star Citizen and what it does now, how it performs on a yearly basis for the past 2 years now, it's not that much.
saying, hey, if it was cheaper, I would have bought more. It's time for me to go to the whiteboard to explain this yet again for the 1000th time. And I said this on Twitter also when a lot of people cried about it. The truth of the matter is CIG knows what price points to price stuff at. Now, they may misprice things at times, but other times they will misprice things to the downside also. We've had some ships come in at a very reasonable price, and
that's true.
The opposite is true. So let's call this price. Let's call this quantity. Now, back to economics 101. Well, maybe not 101, but back to economics.
I love this. I love it. He's using MS Paint or whatever program this is. That's so cool. That is some, there you go, value-added gameplay here. As my friend Digi360 would say here, Montoya, bring in the vag here to the video. That's so cool. All right, so let's listen here to Professor Montoya's explanation. Here we go.
Comics, all right. We're going to have this curve, and it's going to look something like that. And let's say something costs $100 up here, and let's say in quantity there's 1 over here, and the quantity is 100 down here. Now, bear with me, because CIG has this information more than you and I do. They understand pricing. They may mess up sometimes, and I'll explain why. If they had to price something at $100, let's say there's a pen. They're pricing a plastic in-game pen at $100. You know, maybe one person will buy it because who wants to buy a pen at $100?
Yeah, right. That's
but if
crazy.
they had to price that same pen at $1, there may be 100 people that will buy that pen. So if they're priced at $100, they will make $100. If they're priced at $1, they will still make $100 worth of sales. So where's the sweet spot, I ask you? And that's the question I have, but they have the answer to because they've made lots of sales in the past. Now, if they price something, say, at $60, all right, let's say $60 is here, they know approximately X amount will sell over there. If they price it at $40, they know roughly it will sell around there.
Mm-hmm.
So pricing something around the $40, $50, or $60 range hits that sweet spot for them. This area here is the area of maximum profits, all right? So if they're going to sell an item and they're going to sell it at $40 or $50 or $60, they know at $60 they're going to sell a bit less. But they know at $40 they'll sell a bit more. And they know at $50, I'm just giving an example, they know it's roughly going to be there. This area here is the area of maximum profitability. I know some of you are expecting me to draw a PP. I'm not going to do it. This is just showing you maximum profitability will be in this area here.
Yeah, I know. I get what Montoya says here. But it's not just about maximum profitability. How can you make... you're not going to make tens of millions of dollars with an exoskeleton that just has a tractor beam, right? It's ridiculous. It's not a highly desirable ship. Right? It's not the F8 Lightning. It's not the Karak. It's not the Idris, right? It's just a tractor beam on legs. That's what it is. So, it's not something that CIG will make tons of cash with. But the thing is, it can also hurt their reputation with the player base. It can hurt the feelings of the player base. And that's where, in my opinion, the double-edged sword is. Yeah, maybe they are going to go through the maximum profitability area on their chart. Okay, but what if people are pissed because of this? And then the next sale, which is going to bring much more revenue in theory, is not doing so well. People decided, yeah, I'm going to close my wallet because CIG really pissed me off last time. Right? Versus, wow, CIG is really selling this cool little tool here. Yeah, it's a little cash grab because they nerfed the multi-tool, but $20, it's okay. So I'm going to buy a ton of them. I'm fine. It's great, and next time they will open their wallets again. So that's also that they need to take in consideration, right? It's not just maximum profitability. It's also how they are going to be seen by the community.
Still draw it. No, I won't. So anyway, that is why they want to hit this area. Why it's priced. We're so silly. But anyway, now you know why they priced the mech at $40. Now, this example of pens, me giving the pen example, might not be the exact one, but in regards to pricing of the mech itself, and keeping in mind that starter packages are 45, 50, 60 bucks, have you considered that the starter packages for this game are just extremely cheap?
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point that Montoya is making here. Well, nowadays, when the so-called quadruple A games from Ubisoft, right, they sell them at $70 now. And I've said that multiple times on the channel, $70 is going to be the new norm eventually, because when you look at inflation, over the past 20 years, 20 years ago, games were also sold at $50. Now they're $50 again. They should be sold at $81 according to the inflation, right? But they're still sold at $50, $45, right? So yeah, it is cheap. And that's actually a good point too that he's making. I was not thinking about it, but yeah, that's true.
Considering it's 2024, where are you buying a game? Granted, we are still in development and there are tons of bugs, but the scope and reach of what this game has right now at this moment in time for $45, there isn't much out there, right?
But it's not including Squadron 42 though.
In the year 2024, paying $45 for a starter package for this game, I think, is pretty decent. So is it that the mech itself is overpriced at $40? Or is it that we're just used to this game package kind of being cheap? This should easily be, in my opinion, 55 to 60.
Yeah, but here, I think Montoya is mixing here things a little bit, right? A new player is not going to buy the ARGO ATLS, or at least that's not something that they're going to be considering at first. Because with this, you don't need an ARGO ATLS when you have a starter ship like this. You don't need just a little tractor beam is going to be okay, right? The ARGO ATLS is designed for older backers who have been there already for quite some time, who have large ships, who have big fleets, right? That's what it is designed for.
At this point in time. So I do think what CIG has done here is basically saying, hey, here's a game package pretty cheap, have a try, have a puff. And if you like it, then there's more stuff later. That's what they're doing here with the game packages, in my opinion. But I feel the overall game packages, the comparison of the mech itself, of this mech here, it was 40, am I right? I think it was 35.
Yeah, but with tax, it's over 40 in some countries.
Price, $40 for credit. Let's call it $35. At $35,
U.S. citizen, you
no,
can vote
I am not a U.S. citizen.
Here, and even here.
For a glorified tractor beam, which lifts the large boxes over there.
And you can't see anything because it's in front of you.
Maybe overpriced. But keep in mind, at 35, they're hitting that sweet spot. It's exactly where they need to be. They see the numbers more than you and I do. They understand the price points. And they can see from $1.5 million in sales, all right? I think they did not bad for selling a tractor beam and getting $1.5 million, which covers the salary for 30 or 40 employees at lower range. They've definitely done well with it. So I think they did well in terms of generating the revenue they did. But as far as all the other criticism, I can't argue against it. I think they're definitely right with the criticisms of them. They should have telegraphed this ahead of time at least. Not that it would have made things a lot better, but I think it would have made things a little bit better. But the other thing I want to point out is, and this is a fun little experiment, go into Spectrum now.
Oh, no, we're not going to go to Spectrum. Sorry, Monto. It's full of negativity, Spectrum, right? If we go to Spectrum, we're going to have master mode threads and also green space threads. That's what we're going to see on Spectrum.
And take note of the people complaining the loudest, all right? 9 out of 10 times, the people who complain and scream and cry the loudest are the most hardcore and dedicated fans of Star Citizen.
That's true.
So while they may cry and complain and scream about this right now, I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 times, these same people will happily cough up $200, $250, $300 for whatever the next cool ship will be, and they will do it happily. It's like having a bipolar girlfriend, right? One day she'll scream and shout at you and say you're the worst ever. The next day she's hugging and kissing.
I don't know about this Montoya, because I've been in the past. You know, I've closed my wallet quite a few times because of this kind of behavior. So we'll see. We'll see. Of course, they're still going to be making sales, right? Of course, but I still believe that there will be some people who will still have a bad taste in the mouth because of that. Will it be a lot of people? Will it make a difference? I don't know. Probably not. But that little difference here could have been extra money, a couple of millions of dollars or a couple of hundreds of thousands of dollars that CRG could have made. Anyway, cool video here. Always good to listen to the wisdom of Montoya. Don't forget to subscribe to Montoya as well if you have not done so. I'll put the link in the description down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.